Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Well, my cat decided he wanted to be in this video, so here he is. He's going to be in this video for a minute. Um, so I got given 3 more videos on simulation theory, and I want to address them. The third one I tried to watch really irritated me, and I'm not sure why. But I have an idea, possibly why. So we're going to I'll leave the links to these if anybody wants to. This was a 2-part new Anthony Peak interview, and I'm not going to play it because it's 2 50 plus minute videos. All right. But what got me about these videos is these guys, they danced around the evidence. They said they had evidence, but they danced around it. And just simply tried to explain how we're living in this video game, essentially a simulation. And the Anthony Peak video, he claims that there's something called a daemon. That's your higher self that's playing the game, that knows the ins and outs to a certain point, like if you were playing a video game. Well, I got a little problem with that, simply because let me just the Sims. All right, I saw somebody playing the Sims, and I got the gist of the game. You get yourself a house, get yourself a job, get yourself a husband, wife, whatever the case may be, depending on your character. And you basically play life. And I'm like, I don't want to play that. That's ridiculous. So the idea that I would step into a simulation, if somebody told me, well, even if the simulation was only like 10 minutes to represent 100 years, and it would seem like 100 years, and it was only 10 minutes long, if you told me that the goal of the game is to make decisions and get a job and get a vehicle and get a girl and have kids or not, depending, and all this, I would laugh you right out of the room. Like, I ain't stepping into that. I ain't playing that. I have way better things to do. I can do that for real, right? Who needs a game? And if somebody lied to me and said, "Oh no, this is a really cool simulation. You're gonna fly a jet or play football," because I would. I would be far more likely to step into a simulation than say, "Oh well, it's a football simulator." Well, at my age, I better. If I'm going to play football, I better step into a football simulator. If it was like, "Oh, well, you're going to step in a ring and fight these guys, and it's going to be a really good fight simulation," I might jump into that. And if somebody had told me that, and I jumped into the simulator, and this is what I got when I got out, I might knock his teeth through the back of his head. So, yeah, but he didn't provide any real evidence, kind of anecdotal evidence. He did say a couple things that I can relate to. For instance, he spoke of people having dreams and then waking up, going and eating breakfast and brushing their teeth or whatever, and then waking up again, and then get up and do something else, and then wake up again. Well, I've had that happen. Sure, I have. Maybe we all have. I know I got up and noticed that the color of a chair was wrong and then woke up again, or the color or the positioning of a door was wrong and then woke up again in my room. So I can relate to that. I can also relate to the other dreams he spoke of, where you don't understand something in the dream and people ask you if you're all right. Like, you should understand this. Are you okay? And I've had that. I was hanging out. I had a dream. I was hanging out with a couple of my friends. One of them was dead, and my fiance. And when my dead friend got up to leave to go do something, I looked at my other friend and my fiance and said, "Something's wrong. He's dead." And my other friend said, "Well, no, he isn't. What do you mean? Don't you remember the car wreck?" "Which one?" "Well, the one in Lincoln." "Well, yeah, I remember the car wreck in Lincoln, but he didn't die. We've talked to him pretty much every day since. Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then I asked my fiance, "Well, you remember I took you to his grave?" And she looks at me and said, "Well, you took me to some graves, but I don't specifically remember his. Are you okay?" So the phrase, "Are you okay?" And you don't understand something in the dream, I can relate to that. But that's a dream. And possibly, in the multiverse theory, possibly you step into another reality for a minute and everybody else knows what's going on, but you're still remember your reality, maybe something like that. But certainly isn't proof that you're in a simulation. So in those two videos, I saw no proof or evidence really that we were in a simulation. The more intriguing video was this fella, David Hoffman, proves that we are in a simulation. Well, no, he doesn't. And see, this is where we're running into. I'm going to play part of this just to show that he doesn't prove that we're in a simulation, but the title of the video says that he does. I mean, this all seems real. This feels religion-y to me. You're just supposed to accept this information. Now, he talks about equations. These equations that show that we're in a simulation, but he doesn't state the equations. Now, I could see a couple of reasons for this. I mean, if you had really complex equations, someone like me isn't going to understand them necessarily, so why bother? On the other hand, I do know somebody who would understand those equations and would be able to solve those equations. So maybe he doesn't necessarily show the equations because somebody really smart might be able to look at those equations and be like, well, this is a bunch of BS. So, I'm okay with math. I'm not the best at it. I'm not a calculus guy. Let me put it that way. And our equation, see, and that's the other thing, a point I want to hit here. It seems like these guys start with a preconceived notion that we're in a simulation, and that's the point they have to reach. So they set out to write an equation that says we live in a simulation. We have an equation too, but we didn't start with a preconceived notion. We started with a change to a song. All right, a lyrical change. And we were able to take change equals variance percent times the words in the song plus the words in the title. V equals, or C equals V percent times T plus S, title plus song. And we were then able to calculate, I want to say precisely, but the math, I mean, it might not be exact if you were missing something. If there was a drum note out of whack, or a guitar note, like Steve's pointed out of whack. You're not getting that. But you can definitely fairly precisely calculate how far the lyrics are off. And once again, they haven't been that big of calculations. And you're looking at between less than 1% and about 8 or 9%. I don't know that we've had one go over 10. We definitely haven't had one hit 20. All right, so that's fairly small. But our equation started with something tangible, started with something that we knew was a thing. The lyrics in the song changed. How much did the song actually change? What's the actual variance percent? And these other guys seem to have an equation. They start with, well, we must be living in a simulated universe, and then they write an equation for that. So I have a little bit of a problem with that. But I actually have a problem with this video titled Proving Donald Hoffman proves that we live in a simulation. But let's listen to what he says when asked finally about this.
Those people, I mean, you guys just have a different theory, it seems, but do all of you guys believe that there is a potential that we do live in a simulation? Just to go back to that?
I think among my neuroscience colleagues, the simulation, most of my neuroscience colleagues are physicalists. So they assume that space-time and matter are fundamental. The Big Bang was the origin of everything in our universe. And, I think most of them would say the simulation idea is an intriguing idea, but not to be taken terribly seriously. So I'm just now talking about my colleagues in cognitive neuroscience, right? This is, I would say, just in my informal conversations with them, most of them think neurons exist whether or not they're perceived. Space and time exist. The moon exists whether or not they're perceived. Neural activity causes our behavior. Anybody who thinks otherwise is sort of nuts. And all these correlations between neural activity, like V4 and color experience, V5 and motion experience and so forth. Clear evidence, they would say, that brain activity causes our conscious experiences. That's the standard view. So the simulation hypothesis is understood, but not taken too seriously. And my hypothesis is not taken too seriously. What I would say, 90+% of my colleagues in neuroscience believe is, of course, the brain exists when no one looks. You don't need to look at neurons for them to exist. They exist anyway, just like the moon exists. And of course, neural activity causes all of our behavior, and of course, neural activity causes our conscious experience. That's, I would say, 90+% of my brilliant colleagues, good friends. I mean, I love these people. They're great people, even though we disagree on this. That's the standard view, and my idea is definitely believed by less than 1%.
Is it possible that both exist, where the people that created the simulation formulated space and time in our world, in our simulation?
All right. So he himself says it's a hypothesis. All right. That doesn't constitute proof. That constitutes a hypothesis, a theory, if you will. Much like, we can prove what's in the Mandela effect changes. We can prove they connect, but we only have a theory as to why, because we can't prove that. He has not proved his simulation hypothesis, his simulation theory. And that was the best video I watched on it. So, I mean, there doesn't seem to be any proof out there. There doesn't even seem to be any real evidence out there. It's just people saying stuff. You live in a video game. Here's how it works. We have equations to show, but we don't show them. Because I could take that equation, if he were to show it to us and present it, And I could give that equation to a couple of people that I know, who could tell me what that equation meant. All right. So the fact that he doesn't, none of them show anything. And then there's this other video that just irritated me. Well, he doesn't really prove anything either. He's just saying stuff, but observe the pyramids here and all this kind of hypnotic nonsense. And I noticed that with one of the other videos that I watched, there was a pyramid in the middle with kind of these moving things around it, almost like it was trying to hypnotize you. So you got these pyramids here, which are Illuminati symbols. You've got this guy, and anyone who watches knows what I think about most religions and stuff, but here you've got this guy in the middle flashing the devil horns, like Just a Voice always points out. So you got pyramids going on either side with these psychedelic things, possibly meant to hypnotize, and then this guy in the middle flashing the devil horns. And that's the other thing I did notice with the Peaks guy. He did this a lot. The 3 6s, as they say. And he did that a lot throughout the video. Now, I understand that sometimes when your hands do stuff, but I'm not sure if that's a coincidence or not. But this video here really irritated me, and I had to stop watching it for now. But I have a feeling he wasn't going to get to any proof because nobody has, and I'm sure I'll finish watching it at some point. But I had decided that I was going to make a video on this, and to me, this puts it to bed for me for now. Nobody has any evidence. Nobody has any actual evidence that we live in a simulation outside of, hey, knock it off. Outside of what they, how they claim it works, outside of some equations that they don't show. And we all saw, those of you that saw my other video on this, the 15 irrefutable reasons, I want facts. What facts does anybody have that would tell me that we even might live in a simulation? And we might, but what facts does anybody have? This David Hoffman guy said that things aren't as they seem. So he used an apple as an example, but let's say this speaker. This speaker isn't what it seems, apparently. It's just an interface. So you can touch it and all this stuff. My computer, he equated to how you don't know how the electronics and stuff work in a computer, but you just have the interface. Well, that's great. And that's true. You may not understand how your car works, but you know that if you turn the steering wheel, you turn, and if you push the gas, you go faster. If you push the brakes, you stop. Unless you're a mechanic, then you know the ins and outs of it. But yeah, it's just kind of an interface, sure. But this Donald Hoffman was saying that I'm an interface, you're an interface, my cat's an interface. None of it's real. It's all simulation, and it's just a hypothesis. And to title the video that he proves that we live in a simulation is quite dishonest, if you ask me, because he didn't prove anything. Although I did I did enjoy the presentation. I mean, it gave you something to think about, I guess, but you didn't prove anything. And I'll provide the links. You're welcome to watch these videos, and you tell me if you think that anything gets proven in any of these videos. So, and they constantly reference Grand Theft Auto and other video games. Gamers, maybe? I don't understand, I guess. But none of that constitutes proof to me. And so for now, I'm going to put this theory to bed and say, I don't believe it. Simple. You'd have to have faith. Nobody's presented any evidence. What's faith? What is faith? Let's get a definition here. Faith, complete trust or confidence in someone or something, strong belief in God or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. So, or in the doctrines of religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. So you'd have to base your belief in this simulation theory on something other than proof. So, I haven't seen any. Once again, if anybody has any, present. I just want the facts. I don't need, and no offense to the person that left me these links. Maybe that is proof to them. But to me, it doesn't constitute proof at all. So, I just want facts. What facts does anybody have that would tell me that I'm living in a simulation instead of real life? So I'm going to let this video go at that, and hopefully I'm going to let the simulation theory go at that for now, unless somebody can provide me some facts, some proof, some evidence at the very least, so I don't have to take it on faith or belief. Again, very much seems to me like a religion. You don't have any proof, but you want people to believe it. And one of these guys, once again, referenced The Matrix. Once again, a movie. The Matrix is a movie, not proof that we live in a simulation. Okay, hopefully this is the last time I have to do anything on this for a while. But for now, guys, thanks for all your thumbs up, thumbs down when appropriate. Thanks for all your comments, leads, feedback, and subscriptions. And thanks for watching, guys. And for now, you guys have a great rest of your day.